I'm Leah Harris from the Daily Telegraph, and in part 2 of our in-depth interview with William Tyrrell's mum and dad, the pair spoke in harrowing detail of how the past year without their little boy has been for their family.
I don't know how we've coped. All I know is you wake up, you put one foot in front of the other, and you move forward, and all of a sudden you find it's almost 12 months down the track, whereas for us, we relive that moment, that day, every single day of our lives. There's never a moment where he's not in our thoughts. And there is no choice. And this is the absolutely awful thing about life, is that it goes on. The world goes on around you. Your world has just absolutely fallen to pieces and fallen apart. But everybody else is the same. So I don't know how we cope. It's just, for us, you do. And you move forward.
Look, the last year for both of us, including William's sister, has been incredibly difficult on so many levels. It's hard. I pinch myself every day and think, how are we in this position? Why are we here? How are we here? And the reminder that we have of the fact that there's a huge gap in our family, and just trying to cope each day with him not being there. It's a deep, wide gap.
They say one of their most heartbreaking and painful memories in the past year was the day the searching stopped and they were forced to pack up and leave Kendall without their baby boy. His car seat devastatingly empty as the family made the long trip back to their Sydney home.
I had been very stern in my response to people saying, I don't want to leave, I simply don't want to go. And I was prepared to stay up there indefinitely to continue to search or continue to support any ongoing searches or ongoing part of the investigation. In the end, it was the police that almost forced us to leave, and we eventually then had to pack up the car with everything that we'd come up with, including all of his toys, and to go home in the car where there's 2 car seats and one of them being empty. And that's an awful feeling. And all the way home, just the reminder. I felt so guilty about leaving. Where was he? Was I going to find him? It's just awful.
His dad described how William and his sister used to greet him excitedly every day when he would come home from work, something he has desperately missed every single day in the 12 months since he last saw his little boy.
Look, there's a bit of a game there. So anytime I'd come home, normally my wife would have a bit of an idea as to how far away I was, and be texting backwards and forwards, and they had somehow always managed to be sitting on the front bench at the front of the house, looking out, waiting for me. And in most cases, William would be sitting on my wife's lap, looking for me, keeping his eyes out and his excitement. He would always wait out the front with his sister, and as soon as I drove in the driveway, they would be just leaping, running, jumping, both excited to see me, and vice versa. And that was that was the highlight of my day every day, really, and I'm sure the highlight of theirs too. Only to come home and hugs and cuddles and kisses, and go inside and start to do the routine of bath time and dinner and all those sorts of things, and that's stopped. It's we still do that with your sister, but it's certainly not the same. It certainly doesn't have the same impact.
When asked what they would say to William's abductors, as well as anyone withholding information about his abduction, his mum delivered a heartbreaking response.
Why did you take him? What makes you think it's okay to take a child? What makes you think this was a little boy who wasn't loved? What makes you think it's all right to steal a child? What makes it okay for you to not give him back? What makes it okay for you to submit a 3.5-year-old boy to this? How can somebody think this way? How can the person who did it think that it's okay to do it? How can this person's friends, family, associates look this person in the eye every single day knowing or suspecting that they abducted a 3.5-year-old defenceless, innocent child? At what level is that humanity? It's not. You need to bring William back. Give him back to us. He is not yours to keep. He deserves to live the rest of his life in a family who loves him and will do absolutely anything they can to get him back. He is not yours to keep. He was not yours to take. He comes back, and he has to come back home. You can't keep this. You can't keep this secret. It is not right to take children. It's not a piece of rubbish on a road. He's a boy. And he is a boy who has a family, and they desperately miss him. William is not her only child. He's got a sister. He's got cousins. There are people who love him. He has friends. He is a boy. He's 3.5 years old when he was taken. He's now 4. Who knows what people have done to him? Bring him back. And for those people who know or suspect what happened to him, you're as bad as the person who took him. How dare you? How dare you not return William? How dare you keep quiet on this?
Yeah, I'm extremely angry, like my wife is, and you heard before. There's no depth to this in regards to anger and sheer frustration and torment that this has had on all of us. And it's like the pebble in the pond, the ripples that go out from the centre of this are simply enormous. And if this person thinks that this is right and this is okay to do, then they're completely disturbed. And this is not acceptable in a little country town like Kendall or anywhere in New South Wales or anywhere in Australia for this matter. It's an unacceptable situation to have occurred. And I echo what my wife said. If you think that this is right, or if someone else knows something about this in any way, shape or form, then you're just as guilty. And time will catch up with this person. Time will catch up. And their dues will be paid. And I just think that this is the disturbing thing that has happened. I have huge amounts of anger and sorrow, and the impact that this had on us is just overwhelmingly sad, especially for his sister. And they will, and all of us will have to live with this for the rest of their lives and ours. And that's just simply not fair nor acceptable.
The one ray of hope for both of them is Detective Inspector Gary Jubelin and his dedicated team, tasked with finding out what happened to their little boy. The man they believe will bring their boy home and bring his abductor to justice.
Gary is just unstoppable. He's a completely dedicated and he's like a little bull terrier. He's not going to let go of that bone. He's not. He's just going to follow. He's going to track down every lead. And it may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be next month. But I tell you what, Gary's going to catch this person. And when they do, I tell you what, it's the outcome of this in every way, shape, or form is going to highlight the fact that anything is able to be done, and it might not happen today. It may happen next year, but he's going to do it. He's going to achieve an outcome for us. I truly believe that, absolutely.
In the meantime, William's family will mark the 1-year anniversary of the last time they saw their little boy this Saturday with a private family gathering, a day they hoped would never come.
The anniversary brings a huge amount of mixed emotions again as to where we're now 12 months out. We don't have an outcome. We don't know whether he's whereabouts or anything. It's quite scary to think that we don't have anything to support either way. I mean, the police still believe that he's alive, and I hold on to that, because where there's a chance, there is still a chance. And I'm going to be supported by the police, and I'll support them, but I still think that he's alive, and I'm going to hold on to that. And I'm 1 year on. I cross my fingers. I look into the eyes of his sister and his mother, and just pray for his return. That's all I want.
Okay. While they both appreciate the love and support that has poured in from all over Australia, from people sympathetic to their grief and determined to help find William, they condemned those out there making false accusations and hurling abuse at their already distraught family.
We've received lots and lots of really supportive, loving, beautiful comments from so many people who we don't know. We don't know these people. We've never met them before. This absolutely heinous crime has galvanised so many people in so many different ways. Social media is a funny thing, is in that I think people become really polarised. And we see lots of fabulous and amazing things on our Where's William official Facebook page. And, the really distressing thing is we see so many awful things that people write. They write absolutely disgraceful things about us. They make really wild accusations against us. They have impinged on our privacy. They've impinged on William's siblings and extended family's right to privacy.
When we talk about things like social media and I guess media itself, things like Facebook and those sorts of things, it does seem so easy for people to quite clearly, point the finger and make comments or make suggestions of things that are simply not true, and it's to make a judgment call on these sorts of things without knowing all the information and without understanding and appreciate the fact that there's a little boy here who has been abducted. There's a child that has been taken by someone that thinks it's okay to do that, and I find this deeply disturbing, and that people should just essentially shut up. They should just shut up, because they just simply don't know, and they've got no idea. And if they can't fathom the impact that has on other siblings and a relationship, a marriage, your work, everything else, then their comments should have no value, absolutely no value whatsoever. And that's an incredible thing that I just wanted to share, because I think that people should know that it's unfair that they make those sorts of comments at all.
And I try to put it to one side, because they're not important, and we focus on the really positive messages of love and support that are coming towards us. But it's awful when you end up hearing or reading something that is just so untrue, and it's so hurtful. And what really upsets me about this is that there have been people who have taken advantage of our pain and manipulated it. And what I really don't understand is how people could write things knowing that this information is forever and freely available. Because if William comes home and as he grows up, he has to read this stuff. He has to be subjected to this. I would just like to ask those people to stop. You don't need to do it. We have done nothing to William. We've been cleared by the police. There's no point. There's no need to do this.
Anyone with information that could help find William Tyrrell is asked to contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000 or at crimestoppers.com.au.
It's a never-ending roller coaster.
Yeah.
You chained to it.
Yeah.
Can't get off. You're tied on.
Yeah. But you know who's tying us to this roller coaster?
That person.
The person who knows something. He or she has tied us to this roller coaster. This roller coaster. This roller coaster.